I want to show you a very quick reminder of how you can get copyright-free images and how, if you're using them on Salford Now, how you have to credit them. So I'm pretending that I'm writing an article about Andy Burnham on here. That's the sort of thing that you might be doing over the next days, weeks, months, even years perhaps. So I go to images. Now, lots of images here of Andy Burnham, and I might think, well, I like the look of that, but I'm probably not allowed to use it because images may be subject to copyright. However, Google helps me because there's a drop down over here. If I go into Tools and Usage Rights, if I select the right one of these, then it's going to show me images that I'm allowed to use. And the one that we as practitioners of journalism, whether we're students or staff or professionals, whatever it is, if we want to find copyright-free images, it's this one, Creative Commons licenses, not this one. We want Creative Commons licenses. If I click that image, I then get a smaller amount of images because fewer images of Andy Burnham are copyright free. But I know that I can use all of these without there being any problems. Basically, I want I want to be able to use these without being sued by a photographer who says you've used my image illegally. So let's say I use this one. That looks quite a good one. It looks quite kind of determined there. It's a landscape image, which is often important. At the top of images on Salford Now, we always want landscape images, not portrait images like this one, because it doesn't fit on the page on Salford Now. That one with Corbyn would work, but it's not a very good image. That one is a bit square, maybe if I cropped it a little bit. This one is pretty much a perfect shape. So if I click through to it, by the way, I never download from here because that's just a preview of the image. I will need to click through here for a couple of reasons. So first of all, what I can see is that it's some rights reserved. I was just distracted by that Teams pop-up there from Tia. Some rights reserved. So if I click through, and we don't really need to do this, but just to kind of let you know, what it says, is that we're allowed to share, copy and redistribute the material. That essentially means upload it to a website. And adapt, that means we can kind of crop it and things like that if we need to. Under the following terms, we have to attribute, and we're not allowed to kind of make any money off it. So we have to attribute. How do we do that? We literally just copy this URL at the top, and then there's no kind of set way of doing an image credit on a page. All I do is I go down to the bottom of the page, and I'll write image credit, and then I'll turn it into a link by hitting this button link, and I've kind of highlighted all that text. Paste in the URL, add link. That's all I do. So I'm going to download that image of Andy Burnham. If you, rather than sort of right click and try and download it from there or screenshot it, look for a download button, and then we don't actually need one that big. I usually would say like get the biggest one you can find, but 2000 pixels wide, is plenty. So I'm going to get that one. And then I'm going to put that in as my featured image because I want that at the top of my page. I'm going to upload these files. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. And it'll be in my downloads. And it's uploading. There's something else that I really need to do here because I want people to be able to use this image of Andy Burnham in the future in the knowledge that it's okay to do this. So for SEO reasons, I'm going to write, Andy Burnham in the title bit there. And I might do that in the alt text as well. What I'm going to put in the description is a link to this page. So we link to the page where we can see the image, and we can see who's taken it, and we can see the license information. So the page with the photo on and some other information on is the one I want to link to. And I'm going to say image is Creative Commons, or we could say copyright free from Flickr, and then paste in that link. So that way, if anyone wants to use this image in the future, they can look at the image and they can see this description and they can understand that it's definitely okay to use. Whenever we're uploading an image, we have to do this, because if I'm looking at some of these pictures and thinking, I don't know if that's copyright free or not, I might have to delete it, because if I'm worried that it's not copyright free, it's going to get us sued, it's going to have to go. If I see a description in here that clearly states that it's fine for me to use it, then everyone's happy then. So I've got my image of Andy Burnham. I've got the image credit on the page, and I've got my metadata, what's called metadata. So if I click that, I can see where it's come from, and I know that it's fine to use. If I preview this, then we can see when Salford Now kind of catches up with me. Headline, there's my lovely, big, correctly shaped, well-sized image of Andy Burnham. There's the image credit at the bottom. If I click on it, it's going to take me to the page where I can verify where it's come from. So we've done everything right here, and that's really important when we're using these images. Not only to do it correctly, but to demonstrate that you've done it correctly as well. Here's something else that I might do. Let's pretend that someone's been loading videos to Salford Now. That's bad of them. But let's pretend that I took this image. So whoever's uploaded this hasn't given me any information in here. But let's pretend I took this image. I'd say image taken by Robin Brown and free of copyright. Let's say I got permission from the photographer to use it. I'd say image taken by John Smith, permission received from photographer to use. Something like that. It doesn't matter how you word it. All that matters is you explain how come it's okay to use that image. And maybe, with that image, John Smith said, you've got to give me a credit. Maybe I'll say second image credit, John Smith, or, Robin Brown at the bottom. So we always want to be explaining how come we're allowed to use images, and we need to ensure that we are using images that are copyright free. So just to kind of go back on that a little bit, any image that you can find on Google that is under a Creative Commons license, you are okay to use that. A lot will come from Wikipedia, like this one. They'll all look a little bit different on the page, but what they will all have on the page that you need to get is the image and license information. There's the license information down there. You're free to share and remix as long as you attribute. Okay, hope that was helpful. Please do this every time you upload images to Salford Now, and we'll all be happy. Okay, see you soon.